Okay, it's a month after the potting. It's middle of June now. The plant is still doing very well. It has given me many hours of continuously blooming and still looking very good. So not much to do now. Just have to wait until all the flowers fade and trim out the flowers, and that's it. Meanwhile, I have to water it every day just to make sure the soil is kept moist. This is late August. This is for my gumbo pink slanted style that I planted in May. So 3 months after flowers faded long time ago, and new growth started. I like it. It's doing well. Put it now to the automated irrigation system. Dripping is just easier to take care of. Here's the view from the top. Yeah, the leaves are growing nicely and filling up, so I like that. And but I do notice that this plant, the trunk here is kind of boring. I mean, kind of straight, and everything's like two dimensional. If you view it from here, a little bit straight, and I have to say maybe a little bit boring. So next time when I style it, I might want to either wire it or somehow bend it a little bit, just to add more movement to the whole tree. This one was intended to be a sacrificial branch. I mean, I would just make sure it's growing, it has leaves that will create food and supply energy for the plant to grow. Eventually I will cut this off, but this one is doing very good. So you have to be careful for sacrificial branches. You want to watch out for it so it does not become dominant. And so my idea still is to have a slanted style, and maybe later on when it grows more and more into a semi-cascade. It's early winter. Some of the older leaves of this azalea start to die. Don't worry, this is normal. This is what happens. I mean, these leaves are not evergreen leaves. They do have a lifetime. So they will start to drop. Some of them will start to drop, and some of the newer leaves will stay. The thing to remember in winter for azalea is it's a wet season here in California. It's a rainy season, so it's very easy for these plants to get waterlogged, to have excess water. This plant, I have not watered it for over 2 weeks, yet the pot still feels heavy. It's still soaked with water. So this is something to watch out for, because overwatering is very bad, and in this case it's nature that is overwatering. So you have to try to keep it away from if you have too much rain, put it somewhere with shade, some covering, so it won't get all this rain. Also, I know some people who actually place their pots tilted this way, put a stone or something, and let the gravity do the work. Try to help drainage as much as possible, just to avoid wet feet on these plants, and might cause root rot, which is a much severe problem, especially in winter. It gets cold. Sometimes even if you have too much water in the pot and temperature drops to below freezing, this could become ice. This excess water could become ice and damage the roots, or even break your pot. It's also a good idea. I'm not watering with a diluted form of fertilizer that contains high phosphorus and potassium. This kind of fertilizer are designed to make the roots grow stronger and help it flower better next spring. So this is a good time to apply, or you should do this in early fall, actually, if possible. Early to late fall, maybe early winter, and apply a high potassium, apply the high potassium, high phosphorus fertilizer. It should be something like 0, 10, 10 numbering. Make sure there's no nitrogen or very, very low nitrogen, because you don't really need that. You could actually. Hi, this is an update. It's mid-March 2012. It's an update of my shohin Azalea Bonsai slanted style. It's doing good. Plant's doing good, and I really like that. Now you can see a lot of fine branches. The growth is not as dense as before. You can clearly see on the branches, which is what I want. Now the next step is to wait for it to flower, and then after it flower, do a little bit more styling and pruning. What I wanted to do is this particular branch here. From the top, it looks kind of straight. It has a nice arch here. From the top, from this angle, it looks kind of straight, kind of boring. So I'll probably try to, do something here, some kind of either wiring or use pruning to add a little bit more movement to the branches. Looking so nice in early mornings. Good morning. It's June 16th, 2012. This is the slanted style azalea that I had. It's a Satsuki, I believe, which means they usually bloom around May, and right now a little bit late. It's June, it's still blooming. The flower season this year was not so good. I mean, I didn't get so many flowers, and the flowers were kind of a little damaged, eaten by, I believe, slugs. But you can see that the plant grew a lot since the last video shoot. Foliage is a lot denser now. I'm getting like balls of foliage, clumps. There's a little problem. I might have over fertilized it. You can see the tips of the leaves are a little bit dried. So just a small, lightly. So at the same time, allow me to introduce you the brother of this plant. When I bought it last year, I actually bought a couple and made this one into a bonsai. This one, I just grew it on the ground, hoping it will grow bigger and taller, and that's what it's doing. Just show you a comparison. It does make a difference when you grow things on the ground. This plant, because of the training, it does look like a much older tree, while this plant, while on the ground, it's bigger, more growth, but it does look like a younger plant. Okay, back to this plant. What's next is to try to maintain the shape. As you see, I wanted this to grow a little bit downwards, and it start to grow up now actually. So I probably have to do a little bit of wiring just to pull it down. And this part start to growing up also. So I'm going to give it a more heavy trimming here to maintain the shape. And this one, which is initially is a sacrificial branch, but I'm just keeping it, so I had to also trim it a little bit more heavily so it doesn't become the dominant one. And that's about it. As for repot, I probably won't repot this year. I'm going to leave this plant in the pot for another year and probably repot next year. Thank you for watching.